over time, particularly in this Fourth Republic, apart from serious engagement during Obasanjo's regime, then to some extent in Jonathan's regime, right from Buhari's regime up till now, we've had a high preponderance of, I'm sorry to use this word, not good quality men in the National Assembly. They don't really do their due diligence before they open their mouths. And so, when you continuously sound the red herring, the day the herring will come, people may not want to believe you.
When you say they don't do their due diligence, when Jonathan was the president of Nigeria, he said something that even among the cabinet, he has Boko Haram members. And I'll take it back again to what is happening in Nigeria. For example, Babagana Zulum, the governor of Borno State, also made allusion to that political elected officers actually, and even civil servants, are sponsoring the insecurity bedeviling that particular state. The same thing also is happening in Benue State. And, we've been getting all this information coming up. So when you say they don't do their due diligence, we know that insecurity is what we're suffering.
You see, what I'm trying to tell you is that I'm not saying the terrorists don't have the capacity to even want to assault Aso Rock. But the question is, if I'm going to go through that route, it means those who are financiers, supporters, sympathizers of terrorists that are in the National Assembly are also going to be sitting ducks when they attack. It doesn't sound logical to me.
So you don't think they'll have a tip-off?
No, listen, what I'm saying is it would have been better if this is ordinarily what the National Assembly members should have done is to pass this information to the security agents, not to us Nigerians. Do you have the capacity to face terrorists? It is the job of the security agents. And let them go underground, find out if and when these people are likely to attack, then repair.
Now when you say...
You are just raising the red herring by telling Nigerians, I am not armed, I don't bear arm, I am not close to Abuja, not to talk of the National Assembly.
So what do you now make of the statement from the DSS?
To what end are you announcing to me that terrorists are likely to assault the National Assembly?
What will you make of the information made available by the DSS for the Ondo State people? When you say,
that's why I said, you recall that when that information came, I said it here, that look, we need to be proactive rather than reactive. Because it's coming from the intelligence community. And if DSS, who is supposed to be the detectives of an arm of the police that are saddled with internal security, is raising that kind of alarm, then we should be worried. The ideal thing for the National Assembly member, who should also be invited by the security agents to give further
information,
as to
what
how
he knows and what he doesn't know.
What he knows about this.
And what he doesn't know. Okay. All right, let's bring Mr. Oranta into this conversation. Mr. Oranta, what would be the value of this information that has been put out there by the House of Assembly, by the House of Representatives member? What is the value in terms of intelligence gathering, in terms of being proactive, in the fight against insecurity?
You see, beyond value or whatever it is, you ask a question: why will a ragtag terrorist, faceless, want to bomb the National Assembly? You ask that question. What will lead to that? Just like he was talking about, it will refer to the DSS. Initially, he was talking about the quality of men in the assembly. If we have problem with the quality of men in the assembly, what about the people, the secret police telling the people now that a certain state will be bombed and all that? Why create all this uproar? You see, there's so much flip-flop in the system. The government have not shown capacity that they even want, even sincerity of purpose, that they want to stop this insecurity. They have not shown. At one end, you see people. I saw a video. One of the terrorists wants to have a wedding, and in their droves, in their hundreds, they all came well armed, and they celebrated. In another video again, I saw about 5 local governments. Terrorists are coming for a negotiation. They will go with money. You see them do video and they play with money that you are looking for. And the government will just sit back. If you don't want that, you don't have a government. There is a people. There's a list during late Buhari's time.
Okay.
From the UAE that about 400 Nigerians are involved in terrorism, sponsorship, and all that. And this. Nothing, nobody saw it.
Mr. Aranta, you said that the government has not shown sincerity, some kind of intentionality in trying to fight insecurity. Now we have a member of this government, I think he's part of government, member of the House of Representatives, trying to help by available information to Nigerians, to security agencies to act upon.
Nigerians don't need that information.
What do we need?
To us. It is for them to in-house arrange themselves and do the needful. See, you know, when you begin to play cat and mouse over security, at one point you say even that policy alone, that when these people are caught, they will de-radicalize them, then they reintegrate them into the system. You are making a mess of the whole system. Okay.
All right, making a mess of the whole system. Yes. Let's go to Benin, where we still have Comrade Chris Ojekere, on standby. Comrade Chris, we have information, availed us by a member of the House of Representatives that there are plans, and by the way, he's the chairman, House Committee on Internal Security, and he has availed us information that, look, there are plans, by terrorists to bomb the National Assembly. Of what value is that information to you as an individual, as a Nigerian? I would like for us to take off from that point. What value does that information offer you?
I think Garban, I think that's his name.
Yes, Garba.
Is the one that
yes, Garba.
Yes, that has some values to why he gave the information. You didn't hear his recommendation. They should create a directorate of security for the national, which of course it will bring in charge. And there's a budget that's going to follow that in the next budgetary allocation. That's the value. Abroad, or let me go abroad, where things are done in St. Clair, security apparatus are the ones who report to the public the work they have done. What they give to the public is reports. They don't give problem. They give the public the report of the work they have done as a result of credible information that got to them. And that credible information is supplied by all sorts of people. So if you had credible information that Boko Haram was planning to bomb the National Assembly, as the first respondent they asked, of what value is that information to me, which is what you are asking me. That has value from it. Of security in the assembly, where there will be a budget that he will preside over. Simple. Okay. It is that kind of.
Okay. That's the kind of value you attach to it. Okay, that's the kind of value you see. Now, Mr. Delefanimo here said something about the quality of people we have in the National Assembly. Can you look back between 1999 and this moment? How have we traveled in trying to ensure that we have people of quality, people of high intellect, get into government? Are we making progress, or are we going backwards? If you look at people like Garba Ali, of late memory, you talk about people like Chuba Okadibo, talk about people like Ken Nnamani, talk about people like Benga Aluko. Aluko was a senator, sometime. Yeah. If you do some kind of, if you compare notes, are we getting the right people into parliament? Because as a matter of fact, the parliament is supposed to be, a parliament, a nation's prosperity and stability depends on the kind of parliamentarians that they have. How have we traveled in ensuring that we get people of high quality into parliament in Nigeria?
to take that blame are those people of high quality that you say. When democracy was being fought for, society activists, men who put their life on the line to fight for democracy, after they were able to bring back democracy in 1999, they abandoned democracy. We had houses of assembly consisted of bike riders, shoemakers, and so on and so forth. Those who haven't tasted that kind of cookie jar decided to reintroduce the democracy of money. They formed a kind of cabal among themselves where they protect them. So the people you even have now, at least some have degrees to show. You have a president himself who doesn't even have a degree to show. So if we, who are the Nigerian people of quality, who want to govern, who are committed to patriotism, think that we can continue to sit back and begin to say them, and because we are against them thing, they will continue to buy forms, continue to rule over us. Plato said it long ago. The thing is that Nigerians of quality up. We can no longer begin to weep over how they got there. They are there already. They can manipulate the system. They were out in schools, and they know how they got their certificates, even when they were not passing in classes. So they have learned the street, tricks and the street art right from their school days, and they are applying it in the political arena, where they outsmart you, lie, and you are playing the gentleman, and then they browbeat you into silence. You should come up with superior argument and superior intelligence. And the elite unite together, they should. There are vocal voices in this country, intelligent people. The other day we found a 42-year-old child had the temerity and guts of be Ezekwesili, a feminine icon, a living Africa should be proud about. He said he was a chief. Who gave him that title? He was wearing a red with a heavily, ill-bred youth. And I would do my use. I said, you are a scoundrel. And that's exactly what that man is. I don't care whether he calls himself the senator, a senator. If I want what qualifies you to be a senator of the Federal Republic, you must start from your morality. So if you don't know your mother's mate, if you don't know to give respect to your elders, you shouldn't be a senator of the Federal Republic. I will keep quiet over that and will allow it to ride. No, elite must stand up to speak. You must let people know that we have grit. You have courage because you have values. They don't have values.
Okay.
So we fold our arms and we allow them sitting down lamenting. They must get up. Those who have patriotism is ready to change this country. We must get up and ensure that we come together and remove the quality is too low. It's a of random men in embrace and other things that we have together as an assembly. That's what we have.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Comrade Chris Ojekere. I heard you said something like the president himself doesn't even have a degree. I'm not sure that you are right on that because I'm sure you don't have evidence. The president submitted, a certificate to INEC and the Supreme Court affirmed all of that. Well, opinions expressed here on this station are those of the analysts and not the official position of Voice of the People Television. Thanks very much for your take. Let's come back to the studio. Now, Mr. Fanimo, between you and Mr. Ojekere, I would like for you to offer us, more like an antidote. How can we ensure that we get the right people into government, especially the National Assembly? Like I said, a nation's prosperity, stability depends so much on the quality of people in their parliament. What can we do to get, because Mr. Ojekere is called the parliament low, and in your operating intervention, he said, what kind of people do we have in parliament? So how do we get the right people into government?
Well, for me, the one thing that is clear about the way we run elections, it's a very difficult task for us to change the narrative very soon. But I'm not looking at it from the prism of impossibility.
Okay.
Now, it starts from the same parliament. That's the unfortunate part of it. Because lawmaking, amendments, repealing starts and ends on the floor of the National Assembly and the state assemblies. And so Nigerians don't even understand that. Some of us in Nigeria, we don't understand that ideally the legislative arm of government should be stronger, should be the one to dictate the pace for even the executive. The executive cannot run without the parliament. The judiciary has limited power outside of the dictates of the National Assembly. The Bible of the National Assembly is the Constitution and other extant laws.
Okay, so how do we get
And
right people into
now,
that place?
the unfortunate thing now is because of heavy monetization of the politics, of the polity, and then the low level of financial and economic power of the electorate, it's a harder task. But for us to get out of this, one, our values as voters would have to change. It shouldn't be the highest bidder. What quality of brain do you have to use on the floor of the National Assembly before I surrender my sovereignty, which is my ballot, to you?
Okay.
Two, what is your antecedent in terms of reach and community service that you are taking into the National Assembly to represent me? If all those parameters are not there, I shouldn't, in good conscience, decide to surrender my life for 4 years to you.
Okay.
And then,
finally,
the Constitution says each of the parliamentarians at the National Assembly is entitled to 13 aids, fully paid by the budget of the National Assembly. And these are not ordinary aids. They are not supposed to be your thugs. They are not supposed to be your son that you pay money as if you are doling out pocket money. These are quality brains.
Okay, that should help you.
Yes, among them researchers, lawyers, sociologists, psychologists, that will form a team that will propel you, research for you, and school you, tutor you on even what you bring as a bill.
Okay, to enhance the quality of your delivery.
Yes.
Okay,
but
all right.
do we have all that? No. And the electorate, they are not even, they are losing grip of the understanding of what a parliamentarian should be, a senator or House of Rep member.
All right, then.
Now,
Thank you very much,
it has come to the level of constituency. The only thing you think about when you mention a senator or House of Rep member is constituency projects.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Fanimo. Now, Mr. Uranta, before we get into the next topic of discussion, you are a philosopher, and one of you, Plato, I think I'm correct, says until philosophers become kings and kings philosophers, humanity will not make progress. As a philosopher, how can you help us, raise the bar in terms of the quality of people in the National Assembly?
Somebody, almost an unofficial spokesman of the government, once said that the humanities are not important. He was one to say, why would somebody go to the university and study sociology, study philosophy, and say he should have gone to, and I begin to wonder. And he's an unofficial spokesman of the government. You see, you must interrogate everything that comes up. In Nigeria today, what we have to bother ourselves on is how to maintain the sacredness, the sanctity of the ballot. Because that ability to make, when somebody you did not vote for, or you have voted for somebody and then someone else is being switched, there's a switch. We must ensure that whoever is voted for is the person that will be announced. So, if we cannot get that right, then we are not going nowhere. We must begin to interrogate things. The way it is now is an all-commerce affair. Anybody can just come and do. Nobody is being held responsible, accountable for anything. And how can the people make progress in such a situation? So, what Nigeria needs is to find a way to strengthen our institutions. Because as it is now, we're talking about National Assembly. National Assembly are talking about, are they the ones who are always singing on your mandate to stand to the executive? Now, because they are doing it there at the high up there, those states have taken over, asking everybody that you must wear a particular cap and all that. So we have come so low. We have come so low, and this monetization policy, which was introduced by ex-president Obasanjo, has gone. It has created so much problem in the system that the young man on the street who has seen how monetized, the local government chairman, the councillor, the governor, his aides, the assemblymen, the people in the presidency, even the judiciary.
Okay.
We begin to think of how do I make it, and the thing that making it is just about money.
Getting into politics. All right, Mr. Ranta, before we leave, you said something about wearing the president's cap in Edo State. There's information, I don't know if you've heard, that the commissioners that flouted that order, are about to be sacked from the cabinet in Edo State. What would that mean? What would be the implication of that? Briefly, like in 1 minute, if you can.
That is what you get when you put a square peg in a round hole. That's what you get. They cannot even go to court because the man has the power to
hire and fire.
Yeah. So they should just go. But it shows you how, look at Edo State, a state so cerebral, so great men, so many great people are from that state.
Okay.
And look at the level they have gone to.
All right, thank you very much. I must say a very big thank you to you gentlemen for your insightful thoughts. And I would like for you to stay with us as we cruise into the next and final topic of discussion. Wale Edu reveals federal government to expand cash transfer beyond 15 million households. Join us again, we'll be right back.